Welcome to Emotional Resilience, Living with the Fruit of the Spirit. I'm your host and author, Ron Ovid. Today we're on lesson 24. We're in the second part of MindSkills, and we're going to be doing a two-part video on relaxing. In fact, we may be doing that for the next few lessons because I want to tell you about the exercises, and then I want to do a separate video that will illustrate the exercises so you can do them with me. So if I explain it well enough today, you can read the literature, right, and you can do it yourself. However, if you want to watch and do it with me, there'll be a separate video that you can do, and that'll be part 2 of lesson session 24. I hope you're doing the exercises. Last week we talked about focus attention, and that's kind of the platform here. If we can't focus, we're not going to be able to change much. I mean, we're talking about emotional recognition, right? If we don't recognize something, we can't regulate it. Now, today's relaxation is going to be more about regulation. But when do you regulate, right? You can do it after the fact, and how good is that going to help you, right? So I really want you to practice focus attention, and that's what we talked about last session. And get out the notes, do it again, look at it, practice. The more you practice, the better you get. And likewise, today now we're going to talk about relaxing. And then we'll talk about, I'll do a video which will illustrate each of the lessons. Now, learning to relax is important because we live in a life full of stress, and stress is our enemy. It plays havoc on our body and our emotions. It's hard to relax when we're in a constant state of stress. But what is stress? Usually when we think of stress, we think of our circumstances. Certainly finances, pressures at work, at the job, school, raising children, relationships, all these have an effect on us, and they can cause stress. But there's also emotional stress that we've been talking about that comes from that inward chatter, right? That comes from when we're quiet and we got nothing to do, and all of a sudden the negative rumination comes in. And that creates stress too. And then of course there's cravings, which can create this stress. I gotta have it. And then there's also a third type of stress, and that's our body stress. And that's why it's so important that we get sleep, that we have a good diet, that we exercise, because all those things will help us with stress. Because if we're in poor health, we're not sleeping, and we're not eating right, we're bouncing up and down from too much sugar or caffeine, then that's going to create a stress in itself. And so we want to, and part of what we're doing here, it's called emotional resilience. We've talked about childhood trauma. And what we're trying to do now is relieve ourselves of that stress. And how do we do that? We recognize it, we regulate it, and then we emotionally relearn the truth. Because so much of what bothers us are all these predictions about the future. What's going to happen if you don't like me? Well, that comes out of a childhood belief that if you don't like me, I'm going to die, right? But we're not going to die if someone doesn't like us. We're not going to die because of all these lies we're believing. And we'll get into that more as we go into emotional relearning. Dr. Frances Shapiro writes in her book, Getting Past Your Past, she says this: since we all have unprocessed memories that get triggered, we all have felt anxious, fearful, sad, angry, or insecure at different times without really knowing why. It is important to have a way to get rid of disturbance as it arises. It gives us the balance we need to keep one foot in the present as we explore our past. Although we've all felt those negative feelings before, we can investigate most easily if we're not afraid of the emotions. The best way to accomplish this is to know that we can get rid of them when we choose. Therefore, we'll learn some self-control techniques. And one of those is learning how to relax, to calm ourselves down, to be able to bounce back from these negative emotions. And relaxing is a great way to deal with our stress. And, we want to learn to relax. But let me say this, we also want to do something about the stressors. Okay, you know, we can relax from now to kingdom come, but if we don't get rid of some of the stressors, we're constantly going to have this constant stress. So, you know, financial planning, budgeting, counseling, exercise, eating right, sleeping, 7 to 8 hours, it does wonders for our stress. So I implore you, look at those things, okay? Look at those things as an adjunct to what you're learning here, okay? Get some help if you need it, but let's get rid of those stressors. And then let's learn today to relax while we're doing that, okay? So relaxation goes hand in hand with breathing, and some of the things that we've been learning. In the next session, we're going to be talking about breathing. And mastering how to relax and self-calm is a foundational skill, just like focusing was in this suite of exercises that we present. When you recognize that you're stressful and anxious, practicing MindSkills will help you calm down and return to a place of peace. Now, quieting and calming, we talk about, we think about, we plan to relax when the work is done. Our daily lives seem to speed by with all this multitasking. We talked about that in the last 2 lessons on driven to distraction, right? And much of our time is spent in a frenzy, being frustrated or just plain burned out. Our inward motor is moving and moving at a rapid pace, and yet we seem to be going nowhere. Our emotional state is like a person sitting in their car at a red light, right? Revving the engine, and we end up in this perpetual fight, flight, or freeze state. And this state of hypervigilance is not physically, emotionally, or spiritually healthy. It's not. Yet our lives tend to stay in this autopilot mode, just going along if we don't intervene and create relaxation. Thinking about relaxation and, gee, I'm going to get to it, isn't going to do it. We need to practice. We need to learn. Creating healthy, sustainable change in our lives require us to learn how to relax. And so, you know, I implore you, read the notes. And in there, I have this self-assessment. So let me ask you these questions. You know, where are you on these? Number 1, I have constant thinking that doesn't seem to stop. This rumination. Is that something you have? Or, it often seems like I'm sitting at a stoplight with one foot on the brake and the other on the gas, as though I have this constant inward hum, this hypervigilance. Is that you? How about number 3? My inner critic constantly berates me. Are you constantly feeling this negativity from this inward chatter that's going on in your life? Or how about this? My mind is always predicting and planning and worrying. We call that monkey mind. Are you constantly predicting a catastrophe? Are you worrying about the future or planning where you won't get in trouble? What about that? Or how about this? I'm anxious most of the time. Now, for many of us, we're in this cycle. And learning to relax can help us, learning to relax. And so the goal here is to become an expert in relaxation. With practice, you can do this. When we face stressors, we can carry this physical, psychological tension, and these tensions often feed on each other, and we want to learn to relax. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times we'll come home and we're thinking, I'm going to relax, but we have what I call false soothers. What is that? Well, we'll just turn on the TV and we'll sit there like a drone, you know, just going from thing to thing. Now, that's relaxing in a sense, but it's not really the mental kind of relax that refreshes us. Or we'll rush into the next activity. We'll change clothes and off we go to go out and see if we can have some fun. Or we start eating junk food, get that sugar rush, right? We grab a drink or a smoke. We talk about negative experiences. We get on the phone and, oh, you should have seen what happened at work today, and we ruminate all this negativity. Or we jump into whatever addictive habit we may have, because that causes stress release for a while, but that's not relaxation that helps us, okay? Or we find something wrong. We just find ourselves getting angry. And then we go ahead and perhaps we drink or take marijuana or something that we think is going to really solve the problem. But you know what? There's other things you can do, more positive things. We can do some of these exercises that we've outlined in here that we'll be going over. You can practice these exercises. You can take a walk, do some exercise. You can take a bath or a shower. You can deep breathe for a few moments, and we'll talk about that. You can visualize a quiet place and relax the body. That's another exercise. You can spend 15 minutes in just meditation or just journaling and of gratitude and thinking of positive things. All these things will help. You can meditate on God's Word and pray and have a little time of meditation. Spend some time with your pet or with plants. You can listen to peaceful music. All these kind of things you can do that will help you relax when you get home. And then, like I said, you can start to do the exercises. Well, the first thing we want to talk about is grounding. If we're going to, sometimes we get into this hypervigilant state. Perhaps we start to dissociate where we feel like, man, we're almost leaving our body, or we're all up in here, we're all anxious. Well, what can you do? If you feel yourself starting to get out of there, then you ground yourself. And you can read it in there. There's different things that we've suggested. The one that I like the most is just to stand up. Stand up and maybe put your weight on one foot and then switch it to the other. But you want to feel, grounding is literally feeling the ground beneath you. Feeling the ground. I'm here now. I'm here now. Another one I call 333. That's where you see three things. You purposely get into that prefrontal. What three things can I see here? Oh, there's a clock. There's the TV. There's a chair. Or you can feel three things. Here's the table. There's the lamp. Here's my phone. And you're just consciously pulling yourself out of this into a focus, right? Of seeing three things, perhaps hearing three things. Takes a little more focus, right? So some of those focus things, I can hear a car outside. I can hear the drip in the sink. I can hear the furnace running. And, those are some things. Another one is colors is a good one. Look for colors. Can you find 4 things that are brown? Can you find 4 things that are red or yellow or green? You can pick your colors that you want, but you're purposely doing just to bring you back here now. Breathing as you're doing it, right? Relaxing, splashing water on your face. You see that in TV programs a lot where the person's all freaked out, and what do? They go in and they splash water on their face. Another one is you can, like I said, touch 3 things. You can stand up, just stand up and feel that weight, like I said, on the floor. Counting backwards from 10. Blast off, I call it 10, 9, 8, 7. That consciously brings you back to the prefrontal cortex because you're counting backwards. And sometimes just move, get up and move, move around, okay. And you're getting back to here. Sometimes we just need to ground ourselves first. Once we ground ourselves, now we can be purposeful in relaxation. Now, maybe you don't need grounding, and that's okay. But I've put some exercises here that you can go over, and you'll see that in each one, if you want to do it, you can rate yourself before and after. That way you know whether it's being effective or not. That's up to you if you want to do that. But the goal is that you want to see that these exercises are working. Now, when we're going to relax, there's an ideal posture, and I'll illustrate this in the video that's next. But basically, you want to be comfortable in a good posture, right? And usually it's sitting down, back kind of straight, maybe hands on your legs, and you want to be there in a good posture. Now, for some people, you may have back issues and that, and so you want to lay on the floor. And that's okay, but remember, this isn't a sleep exercise, okay? It's a relaxing exercise, and when you're laying down, it's very tempting to fall asleep, which maybe you need to sleep, and that's okay, but that's not relaxing. If we're going to relax, we want to do the exercise. And so I'll just briefly go over each one here in this short video, and then I'll illustrate them in the next video if you want to indeed do them with me. The first one is a body scan, and this is where we're looking basically for tension in different parts of the body. And what we want to do is close our eyes and relax and start, we want to start with our feet, and, we want to feel the feet, and is there some tension? Can we feel our feet inside our shoes? Are they tight? Is it that? And what you want to do on each one is that you want to be able to breathe. You want to be able to breathe and breathe, relax. When you exhale, just breathe relaxation into them. Feel your feet relax. And you go right up your body, right, to your lower legs. You can do that. Find out whether, just quickly, is there some tension there? The upper legs, right, and your thighs and that, is there tension or hurt? Your lower back, right, your hips. And each time, or when you're done, you want to just kind of relax, take a breath. And when you exhale, picture yourself just breathing relaxation into that part of the body. Your abdomen, right, the middle section here, is there, can you feel your clothing touching, your skin? Is there tension there? You can go ahead and relax that. The upper torso, and then of course your neck and your head. You can feel your, is there tension in your face? Is there around your eyes? Is your jaw tight? And each time, if you sense it, you just want to be able to just breathe relaxation into it. And so that's a quick one. And what you'll find is that you'll be able to do this quicker and quicker. You'll be able to scan the body and actually breathe and just relax the whole body. You'll become real good at it, and it'll become a habitual form of relaxation for you. That's where you want to end up, to be able to master your relaxation just by thinking and breathing, and boom, right down your body you relax. And you can get there. And that kind of goes along with the breathing that we're talking about. Now, the second exercise is breathing, and this is a different kind of breathing. What we're talking about in the first one is just, breathing in, maybe a count to 3, 4, 5, whatever, and then breathing out 3, 4, 5. But if you really want to relax, then you want to do like a 1-to-2 ratio. So if you breathe in 3, 2, 3, you want to breathe out 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can do that in combination with the first exercise if you want. It's the exhale that causes the relaxation. So you breathe in, and twice you breathe out, you exhale twice as long. So if it's a 4, then it's an 8. If it's a 5, then it's a 10. I prefer a 5 to 10 myself, and it seems like it's a deep, deep relaxation. And like I said, I'll be guiding you in the exercises if you want, and you can do that. Another one now is relaxing the body parts, and that's where we just go ahead and similar to the first one, but we're more purposeful. This one, there's 2 ways to do it. One is a scrunch or a tighten, and the other is building up pressure. So let me explain that. The first one is a tightening and relaxing, and you go through, here again, correct posture. You go through it, and for example, you start with a face, you can scrunch the face, right? Scrunch or tighten, right? And then you relax. And that anti-scrunching, if you will, that relaxing forces a little more relaxing. If your neck and shoulder isn't damaged, perhaps you can shrug your shoulder, right? And then you relax it. And you go through your body that, and each one, and you can read it in the exercises. And by the way, if you don't have the lesson, you can contact me, ron@empowerministry.org. That's ron@empowerministry.org, and I'll be happy to send it to you, okay? Because it's important that you read these and that you practice them. And so you go right through it, clench your fists, and then let it go. The second one in this body tightening and relaxing, the second one is this heavy liquid, and that's where you clench your toes, and then you feel the body filling up with this heavy liquid. And it takes a few seconds. You're filling it up. You see it at your calves and at your thighs and at your midsection. It's coming up your torso here. Then it's going down your arms, and you tighten your fists. Now you're clenching your toes, tightening your fists where this liquid won't escape. And it's coming up and up and up your body, right to the tip of your head. And then what do? You breathe, and on the exhale, you open your fingers and your toes, and you let all that go out, just like deflating a balloon, right? And it just all spills out. I remember learning that one in graduate school, and it was a very, very relaxing exercise. Another one here that we have is exercise 4, and that's finding a peaceful place. And this is taught in many different circles, but this is where you find a place that you know is a peaceful place. Maybe a picture that you've seen that looks serene, and maybe somewhere you've been. For me, we went on our 35th anniversary to Hawaii, and there was this one beach, and I just memorized that place, and the water coming in and the waves, and that's my peaceful place, and I can sit there. And, I'll teach you how to do that, but a safe place is important. A safe place is somewhere where we can feel calm and relaxed. And you can visualize it and imagine it. As a spiritual exercise, a lot of times I like to bring God into the visualization. So it's me and the Lord just sitting there in this relaxed place. So you're visualizing a safe place. And then you can name it as well, So all you have to do is, maybe it's a peaceful place, and you go peaceful. And you picture it, and you're right there, and you're just very calm and relaxed. And so you have this safe place. Now, Dr. Francis Shapiro talks about bilateral stimulation, and that's where you find it, and you go ahead and you tap on the arms in, like this. And it's something to do along the lines of REM sleep and the slow brain waves, and this bilateral stimulation tends to help the relaxation go even more. And you'll find that helps with the exercise. And then there's a memory of appreciation. We kind of did that before, but where you can think of some time when you were appreciated. We did that in the other lesson on focused attention, but bringing that appreciation in just causes this, it turns on the relational circuits, causes us to just be more at peace. It brings joy, and we just visualize, we think of that, and we think of that appreciation, and we allow it to relax us. And you can do that in conjunction with the peaceful place if you want. And then Francis Shapiro, again, you can read it, talks about a butterfly where you kind of cross your hands and you tap on your shoulders. This is another way of bilateral stimulation that just seems to bring calm. And then there's self-compassion. And in this exercise here, this is where you're talking to yourself in a calm place, a calm voice, and you can put your hand on your heart. And, because we have brain cells, right, in the brain, obviously, but we also have similar neurons around our heart and in our gut. And these things, both these communicate constantly to our brain. And throughout literature, right, we've talked about a broken heart, or I love you with all my heart, or boy, that was a punch in the gut, or I feel sick to my stomach. So it's been out there forever that people have known that there's a connection between our brain and our heart and our gut. And what we want to do here is, as we take this deep breath, you have your hand on your heart, and then you can go, I feel triggered. Being triggered happens. As I wait, I will be understanding and loving to myself. This will pass. I will be kind and patient to myself at this moment. Now that's a mouthful, I know, and you'll need to read it a couple times, but if you can have that kind of attitude, that kind of self-compassion, much like you would to if you have a child, right? You want to be compassionate and understanding toward them. We need to be that toward us. And it involves awareness, right? I'm feeling triggered. It involves acceptance. I'm being triggered happens, right? And then it involves compassion. As I wait, I will be understanding and loving to myself. And then you can also do, the right hand on your heart in here on the gut. And so you're connecting the two and you're breathing, right? And so you can do that. And then you can also do your heart and your head and just feel it connecting. And then finally we have this deep relaxation where you progressively go into it, and I'll illustrate that in the video to come, where we're going closer step by step. We're feeling more relaxed, and then we back out of it. And finally, we want to learn to relax in the presence of God. You know, for a Christian, coming into the peaceful presence of God should be a reality that we can experience at any time. You know, in the original language, relax meant to drop the hands of self-protection. It's a safe place. We feel safe. God's grace is a safe place. It's found in the very heart of God. God loves you. He loves you. And this meditation on His love, His protection, His forgiveness and grace will give us that sense of relaxation. And I've given you scriptures that you can use, like if you want to meditate on it as you're in His presence, right? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Or how about give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares for you. And you chew on that as you just relax in His presence. You drop your hands of defense, right? And you relax in His presence. Well, that was a quick overview of what this session is. I encourage you to read through the lesson. And then if you can, watch the next video where I'll illustrate each one of these, where you can practice with me and you can learn how to relax and really come into the presence of God and enjoy the peace that passes all understanding.